something Dodger fans have been waiting for 2 years. Shohei Ohtani will officially make his Dodgers pitching debut.
But this season, there is nobody that's even close in the game of baseball that's better than Shohei Ohtani.
Shohei Ohtani isn't just one of the best baseball players ever, he's also one of the best athletes of all time. Ohtani was the first modern player to win AL MVP as a two-way player, and he did it twice. He also became the first player in National League history to win MVP as a full-time designated hitter. Shohei Ohtani has accomplished things nobody has ever come close to in the past, and there's still a chance he's about to do it again. What did Shohei Ohtani just show the world? Is he ever going to be a full-time two-way player again? But more importantly, how did Shohei Ohtani overcome 2 Tommy John surgeries and throw the hardest he's ever thrown in his life? Shohei Ohtani is a man that needs no introduction. Even people who don't watch baseball know who he is. Shohei Ohtani has been dubbed this generation's Babe Ruth. And although we know what he can do with a bat, his pitching might be even better. That is, if he never got hurt. Back in 2018, Shohei Ohtani won Rookie of the Year after posting an OPS north of 900. But he also contributed a 1.3B WAR on the bump. As a rookie, he tossed nearly 52 innings of 3.31 ERA baseball. Pretty solid for a 23-year-old rookie. But there was just one problem. On June 7th, Ohtani was placed on the 10-day IL with right UCL tightness, but returned in early July. However, this was a bad sign for things to come. After coming off the IL, Ohtani would pitch just one more time against the Astros. During that start in Houston, he would be pulled early in the 3rd inning, and the MLB world received devastating news.
Shohei Ohtani will undergo Tommy John surgery next week here in LA.
After multiple weeks of consideration, Shohei Ohtani had to undergo Tommy John surgery and missed the entire 2019 season. That is, on the mound at least. He was still elite in the box during the 2019 season, but the real show was about to come in 2020 when Ohtani could finally pitch again. But then something insane happened. A whirlwind of disaster and cautiousness completely tanked his 2020 pitching campaign. During the pandemic-shortened 2020 season, Shohei Ohtani would pitch just 2 times before ending his season after suffering a flexor strain. It wasn't a major injury, but just to be safe, why waste Shohei's health on a 60-game season where the team was already performing terrible anyways? This ended up being an amazing decision, because over the course of the next 3 seasons, we got to see what prime pitcher Ohtani could really be. While dominating at the plate, Ohtani was also dominating on the mound as well. In 2021, he tossed just over 130 innings to the tune of a 3.18 ERA, which was good for a 141 ERA plus. And that was just a warm-up though, because in 2022, Shohei Ohtani had one of the most insane seasons of all time. I'm not just talking insane for a baseball player. I'm saying Shohei Ohtani had achieved one of the greatest accomplishments in sports history. As a batter, we knew what he was capable of. In a full 162 game season, Ohtani never posted an OPS under 848. You could pencil him in for a 30 to 40 homer season and nobody would bat an eye. So when Ohtani went off for 34 home runs and 95 RBIs, everything was status quo. But what people were surprised about was his ability on the mound. In 2022, Ohtani shoved 166 innings of 2.33 ERA baseball. Ohtani had accomplished a career-high 28 starts and even accumulated over 6 B WAR that season, which helped him finish 4th in the AL Cy Young voting. This is it. This is the peak of Shohei Ohtani's powers. When he's healthy, he's one of the best pitchers in all of baseball. In fact, in 2022, Shohei Ohtani had accumulated more B WAR as just a pitcher than AL Cy Young winner Justin Verlander. In 2023, Ohtani followed up his historic season, regressing back to his 2021 form, tossing just 132 innings with an ERA of 3.14. This was still a solid great season for Ohtani. However, before Shohei could even celebrate his second career MVP, terrible news would hit the baseball world in September.
He's going to need Tommy John surgery. He's not going to pitch for another year.
That's right. After issues with his right UCL and a oblique, Shohei Ohtani would undergo his second Tommy John surgery in just 5 years. From 2021 to 2023, Shohei Ohtani posted 428 innings of 2.84 ERA baseball. He was one of the best pitchers in the entire MLB. The only reason he didn't win more accolades during this time was the fact his innings were limited due to his two-way status. For example, Shohei Ohtani has pitched just one complete game in his entire MLB career. It's not because he can't go the distance, it's because his innings are limited. This is just something Ohtani is going to have to live with as a pitcher due to the fact he's also a full-time hitter. But that all might change. As we all know, after Ohtani left the Angels, he would go on to put up one of the best offensive performances of all time with the Dodgers. He wasn't just the most famous man in baseball, he also ended up becoming the first full-time DH in National League history to win the MVP award, which, to be fair, isn't saying much considering how recently the National League adopted the DH rule. However, now in 2025, Shohei Ohtani just showed us there's a chance his pitching prime isn't over. In fact, Ohtani's prime on the mound has a very real chance to be in front of us. Ever since Shohei Ohtani signed with the Dodgers, the question was, when will he return to the mound? That question hasn't been very loud due to the fact that Dodgers won a World Series and Ohtani was the best DH on the planet, but it was still a very important one. At some point during the 2024 season, people even began asking, will Shohei Ohtani ever pitch again? Can he overcome 2 Tommy John surgeries in 5 years while still being one of the best hitters on the planet? This reality began to set in for baseball fans. We are never going to see Shohei Ohtani pitch in a major league game ever again. But then something happened. It was announced Ohtani threw a private bullpen session and another bullpen. Then it was announced he was throwing at 100% again, he just couldn't throw breaking balls yet. Then videos of Ohtani throwing full batting practice to his team was released. And before we knew it, it was announced Shohei Ohtani would start against the San Diego Padres in mid-June of 2025. But now that he's pitched against the Padres, what did we see? Was he a shell of his former self? Is he back to his dominant ways? Or is Shohei Ohtani a completely new pitcher entirely? Before we hop into Shohei's first start in nearly 2 years, it's important to remember a few things. One, he hasn't pitched in front of thousands of people, or for that matter in a real game, in over 600 days. He's going to be rusty. Second, he hasn't had a rehab start. Typically, pitchers would be sent down to the minors to build up their pitch count. However, the Dodgers don't have that luxury due to the fact Shohei Ohtani is also the best hitter on their team. So with that being said, let's see how Shohei Ohtani approached the first batter of the game. Fernando Tatis Jr. is one of the best hitters in the National League West. Ohtani's first pitch in over 600 days is a statement. He delivers a 98-mile-an-hour sinker into the heart of the strike zone that's fouled off for strike one. The fact we already know Ohtani has his velocity back after just one pitch is great news. But what he does a few batters later is insane. Although Ohtani would struggle finding the zone on a few more low pitches, he only allowed this base hit to Tatis on extremely weak contact. Things went from bad to worse as Ohtani pulls this sinker into the dirt, nearly hitting Luis Arias, but more importantly, allowing Fernando Tatis to take second base. However, for a moment, it appeared as if Ohtani locked in. He ripped a 99-mile-an-hour sinker inside on Luis Arias, which caused him to swing and miss. He then tossed a triple-digit sinker down and inside, which shocked me and I think everyone else. His velocity wasn't just back, it was better. But unfortunately, just a few pitches later, let up this weak contact, which allows Luis Arias to collect the Padres' second consecutive base hit. This seemed terrible for Ohtani. Just 2 batters into the game, he had runners on the corners and already had a pitch count of 12. If things kept going the way they were going, Ohtani wouldn't even make it out of the only inning he was scheduled to pitch. But then he really kicked things into gear. After nearly striking out Manny Machado on one of the nastiest sweepers you'll ever see, Shohei Ohtani was able to induce this weak fly out, which then nearly turned into a double play at home plate. After the sac fly, Ohtani would lock things down down for good. After working Gavin Sheets to a full count, he eventually got him to roll over on this fastball for a second out of the inning. Finally, Ohtani managed to get the third out of the inning after Xander Bogaerts rolled over on this sinker, which gave third baseman Max Muncy an easy play on the ball. Shohei Ohtani would be pulled after the first inning as planned, and after giving up one run, got one right back for his team. Just a few innings later, Ohtani would record an RBI double to tie the game. But as a pitcher, Ohtani had highs and he had lows. He did hit 100 miles an hour on the radar multiple times, but he also struggled to find the zone and struck 0 batters out while allowing 2 base runners. On top of that, he did get these batters in an 0-2 count or a 2-strike count multiple times in the first inning, but was just never able to lock them down. So this does seem like a mixed bag. But what if I told you Shohei Ohtani just gave us proof there's a chance he could turn back the clock and put in one of the best pitching performances of his career and possibly even better pitching for the rest of this year and next year? First of all, before we get into how we know this, I need to say one thing to Shohei Ohtani haters. No, his pitching career isn't over. In fact, I like to think it's far from over. Although we saw Ohtani hit triple digits multiple times today, I doubt that's his real starting velocity. A few years back during the WBC, we saw Ohtani hit 100 miles an hour. However, the difference was he was coming in as a reliever, meaning he's able to exert more energy into each pitch considering the fact he's only pitching for 1 inning, not 6. Now, I know he only pitched 1 inning today as well, but just seeing Ohtani hit 100 in his first start back in 600 days leads me to believe Ohtani can still hit 95, 96, and 97 regularly as a starter. At minimum, we already know Ohtani has what it takes to come in as a late inning reliever. Now, what about the control concerns? He had a lot of hitters in 2-strike counts, however, let them back into the at-bat by struggling to find the zone. Well, to me, I chalk this up to rustiness. Sure, Shohei Ohtani has thrown multiple bullpen sessions leading up to this point, but he hasn't pitched in a real game and tens of thousands of screaming fans. Plus, pitching in an exhibition is way different than pitching in an actual competitive game. I think as Ohtani builds up his pitch count over the next few months, his control will get a lot better. So with this information, how can I tell that Shohei Ohtani has the potential to have an even better pitching performance than his 2022 year? Well, it's simple. Despite 2 Tommy John surgeries, Shohei Ohtani's stuff is still electric. His fastball still has velocity, his sweeper is still filthy, and his sinker still makes hitters confused. Basically, what I'm saying is Shohei Ohtani is still Shohei Ohtani, even though his UCL has had major surgery twice. If he can stay healthy, and that's a big if, Shohei Ohtani certainly has the potential to replicate his 2022 season because he still has the ability to throw his 2022 stuff. Now, I know a lot of Major League Baseball fans love to hate on Ohtani, especially because there's a feeling that MLB just absolutely pushes Ohtani on socials and overdoes narratives instead of focusing on other people with the same amount of effort, and I totally get that, but let's not let that get in the way of us actually appreciating how good of a player Shohei has been and is. Like, he still is one of the best players in all of baseball. Back to the present, after Shohei Ohtani's first start as a Dodger, we might have more questions than we had prior. Like, will Shohei Ohtani stay healthy? If he can, will this impact his ability to hit at the plate and at that, hit at the level he has been hitting for the past 2 years? If he gets hurt again, will he get Tommy John surgery a 3rd time? And then after that, will he even ever try to pitch again or just become a full-time forever DH? Will another UCL injury affect his hitting abilities? There's a ton of questions surrounding this situation, and honestly, I just want to know what you guys think, so let me know in the comments below. And again, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe. It really helps me make these videos. But that's all for today. I'll see you guys on the next one.